Hello! I love free sewing patterns, and what do I love more than free sewing patterns? I love good quality free sewing patterns. And what do I love more than good quality free sewing patterns? I love recommended good quality free sewing patterns. Oh, good news. That's what today's episode is about. If you love them, if you want to find good ones, then stick around because I have some brilliant makes to share with you. Now, today's episode is a reveal of Challenge 1 at the Busybe Sewing Challenge, and if you're sat there thinking, what are you talking about, Sam? There is a playlist where myself and 7 other vloggers have all taken part in a month's challenge to sew free Marilla Walker patterns. So you don't just have to see mine, you can see what 7 other people have sewn and created and get inspiration. That is a lot of free pattern inspo in 1 month. But there's also 2 years worth of Busybe information in there for you as well. So for the month of September, we have all sewn up one of the 4 Marilla Walker patterns. And when I say one of, I might have done more than one. And other people have been taking part as well, including my lovely YouTube members who we've been discussing it, sharing it. So there is a lot of inspiration for you. I have sewn the Marilla Walker Nautilus top into a top and a dress many times now. I actually have lost count, and I know there are people out there now who have sewn it too, and once you start you don't want to stop. It is a great pattern. There is 2 neckline variations. We'll talk about some of the hacking options as well, and I'll share the versions I've made this month with you. But it hasn't stopped there. I have made the Jurassic coat, and I've also made a start on the Anning blouse and dress as well. The only one of the 4 that I haven't done this month is the Belemnite, but the good news is other people have sewn this pattern and I'm going to do it. It is on my list. So let's talk a little bit about Marilla Walker. Marilla Walker used to sell patterns. She had a wide range of patterns, and in the last year she has released 4 of those on her website for free. At one point, none of them were available. And I'd bought a couple of them when she was stopping doing it. And then out of nowhere, ping, one day she put 4 of them up. I like her patterns for lots of reasons. 1, the instructions are really clear. 2, they have a good size range. 3, there's lots of hacking opportunities. And 4, they do offer something that's a little bit different sometimes. And of course, now that 4 of them are free, it is pretty amazing. You can Google search some of these patterns, and some of them you can get some great inspo. But some of them, this is the first place you can see a lot more about them, which makes it extra exciting as well. So the Marilla Walker Nautilus, if you want more details on it, I will put below the playlist and the specific episodes, because it is a pattern I have shared and talked about many times. But I decided for the Busybe challenge I would make myself 2 long sleeve versions, because I haven't made that many long sleeve versions before, and I felt in this sort of September time of year it was great to have them. So the first one I made was in a very soft, I would say like a soft black, like a charcoal Indian block print. The cotton is unbelievably soft with these gorgeous sort of biscuit coloured tigers on them. So I had to be very careful when I cut out the pattern to make sure we didn't end up with a piece of the pattern with the tigers upside down. But apart from that, it was beautiful to sew with. There was a little bit of unpicking because I caught a bit of the sleeve in the cuff when I was making it. I like to do the cuff at a width where it sits just loose of my wrist, because I'm not a big fan of things on my wrist, but you can just adjust the cuff to the size you want. And I do the pleats at the top, which are very clearly explained in her instructions, and then I gather at the bottom. The sleeve pattern has the option for you to do pleats at the bottom as well, but I just like that softness of a gather at the bottom. If you don't like that amount of fabric at the top, you can easily fold some out, and various people have done that. I will put some pictures on the screen now of people who've done that and just folded a bit out. But you don't have to make it with the sleeve. You can make it sleeveless, which we'll talk about in a minute. I decided to go for quite a neutral wooden button because I felt like a black button would be too harsh. I thought cream would stand out, so I thought let's go for a neutral wooden button. I knew it would be, and I already have found that it is a great addition to this cross-seasonal dressing in that I can wear it with so many things. It's not too hot, not too cool, great for putting like a sweater vest over the top. The sleeves are so soft that although there's a reasonable amount of fabric, it just drapes so smoothly, it's not a problem at all. And the other thing I would say is that some people have been reluctant to have a gather down here. I quite like it. I think it gives a different look, and that's what I'm often looking for in my makes. I then decided to use my Liberty fabric that I bought on my trip to Liberty. I only bought 1.5 meters. So to make this up, I had to use a different colour facing, and I chose a blue colour. You cannot see it through. Now the Marilla Walker Nautilus top is quite cropped. Now it's not cropped, but as in it's not easy to tuck in. Both times I made it, I planned to lengthen it and forgot. So if you want it longer, remember to lengthen the bottom. I bring the V up, so I have to remember to lengthen the bottom of the facing. You could avoid doing a placket by cutting it on the fold, and the lovely Nikki, who's one of my YouTube members, I'll put in a picture here, she laid it on and folded in the excess so she could cut on the fold, so you can still get a V-neck. And then when she said that, I remembered that I'd made this version where I did lengthen it, and I added some really long tie belts that became almost like obi belts. And this is it. Once you find a pattern you like, you can really play with that, and I do think the Nautilus is that pattern because I have made dress versions. Now, in discussions during the month of September on virtuals with my members, we realised that actually there was a pattern piece for a sleeve cuff, because the sleeve, this is the Tammy Handmade Naira I'm wearing today, but the sleeve is a similar length when you do the without adding the sleeve on. So I have tried to make a cuffed version, but I know Angela has, so I will include Angela's in here as well. I will put pictures in at the end, but there is pictures while I'm talking so that you can see what I'm talking about. So then I went on to sew the Jurassic coat. Now the Jurassic coat is quite oversized, so if you follow the instructions you would come out, particularly if like myself you're quite narrow shouldered. I have to do a small shoulder adjustment on a lot of things, which is not easy on a complicated raglan sleeve like this. So I looked at all the instructions and I actually made the size 1. So I have a narrow shoulder, a bust of a 36, a waist that goes between 30 and 32 depending on what I've eaten, and a hip of 41 inches. So because of my narrow shoulders, it would have swamped me if I'd gone any bigger. Now, if you are more petite than I am, you could easily just do a more generous seam here. Or once you've sewn it up, go down the back and do an overlock seam right down the middle of the back and take some out, because it will just give you another seam line. There's a lot of lovely lines. There's lovely pleats into the raglan at the front. And it has an integrated gusset which you sew in 3 pieces. Now Marilla put some videos up when she originally released the pattern and they're still available. I'll link that below as well. I had a slightly stretched fabric for my first Jurassic coat, and that gave me a bit of wiggle room to get that gusset in. But I have to say the instructions were clear. She does give you instructions on how to sew it with a lining. I chose not to because I want it more as a coatigum, and it was quite easy to adapt to ignore that. If you've ever sewn anything with a facing like a cardigan or anything like that, you could easily adapt it. So I just overlocked the edge of the facing that was going in. I top stitched as well. There's a lovely detail at the bottom how you get a nice neat edge. I made the shorter version, which is supposed to be mid-thigh. It is almost knee length on me. I am 5'2". I am in the progress, or you might see here, a cropped version that I've cropped, and I also needed to take about 3 inches off the length of the sleeve. So if you are a person like myself with either a shorter arm length or longer arm length, I think longer arm people, I think you're going to be okay. But for me, 3 whole inches had to come off. Yeah, very long sleeve. There is 2 sleeve widths depending on how thick you'll want to put jumpers underneath. We do want a coat oversize if we're wearing chunky jumpers, but as it was a coatigan, a size 1 was perfect for me, where I could fit a thin sweatshirt underneath and still not feel like too bulked up. If I was going to make a winter one that was more padded and I wanted to wear big coat jumpers underneath, I might make a size 2. Would I make it again? Yes, I would. I really liked it as a pattern. I liked it as a set of instructions. I loved that it was free. I loved the details in it, and I can see some hacking possibilities. You could do colour blocked pieces. So if you bought like 2 colours of like boiled wool, I couldn't, it makes me itch, but if you bought 2 like autumnal colours, like a burgundy and a mustard or something, you could do some lovely colour blocking, because there's a back and a front arm piece, then you've got the 2 front pieces and a back piece, and either welt or patch pockets. So it has really strong potential for a bit of colour blocking with the 2 arm pieces. And of course, although it's got a lining option, if you did like myself with just the facing, you could bind that facing as well, and you could do the patch pockets in the other colour. So I think it's got good flexibility to the pattern. Now, still on my wish list is the Belemnite dress, but the good news is that a lovely lady called Claire, who is the singing sewist on YouTube, I will link her below, has a whole video. She made it this month as part of the Busybe. We have the lovely Teresa of Lost My Thread. I will put hers below as well, who's made the Belemnite, and I am going to make it. It is a beautiful looking dress. It is another one with opportunity for changing direction of fabric or putting different details in. And as I say, as I record this, I have no idea what the other 7 members have made. And it will be so lovely for you to come back and tell me which is your favourite. Tell me what inspiration you've got. And that's the great thing about this, is suddenly out there at the end of September, there is 8 people giving you brilliant inspiration on the same free patterns and their take on it, their adaptations, their perspective of it on their bodies, because everybody's body is different, and it's really nice to see these patterns on different bodies. Now let's talk about the Anning. When I first looked at it, and I know when some of the other Busybees looked at it, it did look, some people would describe it as a bit tent-like, but honestly I don't always think that is true. For me, because I have a bigger chest for my body, something goes out and stays out, but not everybody has that. So first of all, what I might feel might make a tent on me may well not do that on you. And I have to say, I had a good look on Instagram. I searched 2 different hashtags for this pattern, and I saw some beautiful versions. So if you are somebody that likes just like a throw on sort of shirt dress or smock type dress, it is beautiful. And I'm putting some of those in while I'm talking. And what's included in the pattern as well is her extension / hackables with an amazing sailor type collar. So you've got 3 collar choices: a sailor one, what my mum would call a mandarin collar, and what looks very much like the patina blouse style collar. But you could leave it collarless, because I've done that with the patina blouse as well, or you could add a ruffle round it. So there is a lot of options. But then you have 2 front designs as well. But it doesn't stop there, because she also has an additional A0 page, or A4, however you print it, which has the sailor collar and a whole set of bodice pieces to sew it as a shirt or blouse. And that includes 2 panel pieces for the front, the back piece, and then you cut the yoke out that already exists in the pattern. And of course you've got the sleeve in the pattern. So of course I had to have a go. It is quite cropped, so you have the option, you could add a peplum on the bottom, or you could lengthen it, or as I saw in one of the amazing sets of pictures I was looking at, you could add some rectangles, and she gives instructions in the pattern for this of how to add a skirt, and there's even pocket pieces as well, and you could add pocket pieces. So if I was looking for a pattern that was well drafted, a good size range with good instructions, that would work for somebody who'd had a bit of sewing experience and didn't necessarily want to spend any money on a blouse or shirt or something that could be used in lots of different ways. I would choose this. I think the first impressions might put people off, thinking it's a bit tent-like or boxy, but first of all, you can make it at a length where you wear it over leggings. If you're somebody who I've been having this chat with people on YouTube, tucked or untucked. If you are an untucked person, do it the length you want, and you could then wear it as like a tunic over leggings, over wide leg trousers. The lovely Kaz, who was on this year's Great British Sewing Bee, I'll put a picture here, did a lovely combination of like a longer top with trousers and wide leg trousers underneath. Make them in the same fabric and you're looking pretty sophisticated. So I think it is really good sometimes to look at a pattern like this, look at and think, and actually have a go, because it's free. Obviously it costs money to either have it printed or to print it out yourself, but you haven't paid anything for the pattern, and there is some gorgeous pictures out there. I would love to know from you, have you tried one? Have you sewn any of them? Are you tempted? What do you like the look of? What's your favourite from what I've made? And also, what's your favourite from the other vloggers that have done this too? I will never stop sewing these patterns. I think Marilla Walker's patterns are great. I think the Nautilus is an amazing go-to when you want just a simple top and it looks so different in different fabrics. But also, I really hope that at some point she releases a few more, because she has some other lovely patterns I've seen. I've tried to find them, I've tried to buy them, I would happily pay for them. If anyone is sat out there with a Marilla Walker pattern in their stash that they haven't sewn and wants to contact me, I would be interested, because I'm not done with her yet. I think I need to find her and let her know how much I love them and let her know what we've done. That would be nice, wouldn't it? She used to be on Instagram, she isn't anymore, but to let her know how much we've loved these. I really hope you've enjoyed this episode. This is not the end of the Busybe challenge. The Busybe challenge is on to challenge 2 now, and coming at the beginning of October will be the Busybees telling you all about the October challenge. A little sneak peek, it's an upcycle challenge, which fits perfectly with it being so upcycle for October, and we're all going to be making some autumnal upcycles. So if you want to join along with us, please feel free to send me pictures on Instagram. You can drop me an email. You can leave me a comment below and ask me. You might want to join my membership so that you can join in and chat and share this. We've been having a great time chatting and sharing and inspiring each other. Or you might decide to run a month behind and do your own Busybe Challenge 1 now. Such a great opportunity to have seen some inspo and now have a go for yourself. But also, leave me some tips, because I'm planning now my video for the Sew Upcycle and my autumnal thing, and I've still got my thinking hat on, so I would love some little hints and tips to get me started.